Hello everyone, welcome to my video on a sample report within Google Data Dashboard. In this report, I'm just going to show some basic elements that I typically add into my reports through pulling information from Google Analytics. So the first step in my workflow is to typically add a title. In this case, this information is going to be looking over website user data, insight, and trends, and then give it a date range so the user knows exactly where this data is falling into. So one of the first things I typically look at is user metrics. So just by pulling down some scorecards, changing metrics to users, page views, page per sessions, etc., and implementing that. Another element that I always like to incorporate is a comparison from the previous year or the previous time frame. Then I like to look at channel activity. I like to look at the default channel grouping, kind of get an idea of where the sessions are falling. In this case, that will be the metric, and the dimension, as I said before, is default channel grouping. And here you just kind of get an idea of which channels are going to be most popular through the sessions. Then I like to look into the medium and source activity. Here in this case, it kind of gives me a good idea of how many sessions we're having per each medium and source. In this case, you see it's predominantly going to be Google search or through the direct link. Next, I always like to look at our user characteristics, so get an idea of who's coming onto the website and what their characteristics looks like for in the case of future marketing targeting. So the first thing I like to look at kind of the location. Here, since the default Google data kind of comes from a multinational website, it's good to get a good idea of where consumers could be coming from all around. In this case, you can kind of see that it's all going to be coming from primarily from the United States. And then we're going to be looking at the kind of device that users are coming on. Usually gives good insight to how to format and develop your website. In this case, we're seeing the majority of sessions are coming from the desktop, followed by the mobile, and just a few for the tablet. And then lastly, for messaging purposes, it's always nice to know what the age range is and make sure that you're targeting the correct type of consumer and the age that they fall into. In this case, we can see that the majority is going to be coming from the 24 to 34 age range, and then by the 18 to 24 age range. This is all, as I should note, has dimension of age with the metric of sessions. So looking at this first chart, we can kind of see that this year's data already in the dark blue is running relatively consistent to the data from the year before. But the reason why I like using this kind of chart is we can see here there was a small dip in comparison of performance from the year before. So it's always nice to add a chart as well that have heat map characteristics or a bar graph. In this case, I went to the heat map as it's a good indicator of the most commonly used page. In this sense, you can see the first three are going to be the home, the store, and the Google results. So this is just a quick overview of some of the elements I like to add to the Data Google Studio and how to really bring to life a lot of the metrics that you can find